Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Trailer Talk. Today our headlines are kind of different. There's just so much conflicting information that's going on right now about the state of the trucking industry, where it's headed, how it's been impacted by the COVID-19. That Jess and I would really just like to kind of talk about that and then tease it out. So just to give you a taste of what we're saying here, I'm just going to read a couple of headlines here that I found. And so on the one hand, from the CCJ, the Commercial Carrier Journal, you see headlines like trucking economist predicts rapid post COVID recovery, where it goes on to say that the recovery is going to be swift. And that things are looking up, but then in that same sentence, that same day, you see articles from the Business Insider talking about last April, trucking companies ordered 15,000 new trailers. This year, they've ordered 300, and the record low is a chilling sign for the consumer economy. And so, just right there, you've got two headlines, both from reputable sources that are clearly conflicting with each other. And then you continue on. More headlines are carrier optimism soars as freight volume ticks upward. You see things from utility trailer manufacturing company announces record breaking year in trailer production. They produced 52,000 trailers. You see headlines like Extra Lease adds 4,000 new trailers amid the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. And so Extra Lease is actually revamping their trailer fleet with all new trailers. More headlines. This kind of relates back to a previous episode as well, but driver pay has increased in 2019 by anywhere $6,000-7,000. That same headline is echoed in the American Trucker, showing that driver pay and benefits and things have actually increased this year. And then there's just the biggest bombshell of all that no one's really talking about yet, but people should probably start talking about sooner rather than later. Is that Amazon has just gone nationwide with its freight brokerage, and as we'll get into here in a bit, that they're doing a lot more than just brokering freight. Like, they're not just connecting shippers to carriers. They're actually becoming the carrier themselves. And we've seen what Amazon does in other industries. And so, all of this stuff is going on all at the same time. It's not at all clear what's in store for the industry, where it's headed. Jess, what do you make of this smorgasbord of information of this situation?
There's a lot to take from this, Scott, but one of the things I'll say that I take from this when I read it is there's a lot of meat here that maybe we're not necessarily getting. And I don't know if it's because, and when I say we're, I mean people that look to bits and pieces of this industry. Maybe it's because things are constantly shifting every day. You mentioned COVID. We're finding out new things about that every day. So people are adjusting their businesses according to that every day. The way they purchase things, the way that they, navigate through, the way they're going to get things delivered. I think all of this is shifting. So all of that conflicting information, I think, can be very true, at the same time very new. So it's like we're all kind of in the dark at this point. But I see a lot of things like market shifting, maybe less workers. You mentioned, like the last show we had, or a previous show, pay increases. I think that if there are less workers, maybe they are able to increase pay. All of these things come to mind.
Right. Well, you would think that a pay increase is, well, it's indicative of one of two things. Either it's indicative of a strong economy, right? So people are making so much more money that they're willing to actually give more money to the workers, or it's indicative of an undersupply of the labor, right? So there are so few drivers right now, and compared to the amount of freight that needs to be shipped, that you got to do what you can to keep them. Neither one of it actually sounds like the most terrible of problems to have. And so the question, how does that reconcile with articles like the Business Insider saying that it's all gloom and doom going forward from here, and also, how does that going to get reconciled with Amazon? Like, what do you see Amazon doing once they get into this game and they start making money from trailers?
Right. That's interesting. Because as we know from the past, they've gotten their hands, into a bunch of different markets, starting off in one, maybe not so specific market, but not so broad. And
They're very
then
quick.
it's
They start
just,
off in books, like it was specific as it was, but they
right,
broadened quickly,
right,
and then just their track record. They took over
right,
everything on a retail level, and then they moved into the food business. And I don't even think we felt the full impact yet of Amazon playing in the Whole Foods and the grocery category. And now they've already, undeniably, they've got huge trucking network as it is. I mean, they're delivering so much every day as it is already. It's really not such a stretch for them to go ahead and take on more orders. Like, the company's built to scale. Like, scale is their overriding focus. Scale and customer support, apparently.
right, right. And they're such a supermodel in, how I would say it is, like, in a industry, being the shipping world or ordering world, and then let's say you put them in a new market, whether it be food industry or freight industry. I mean, they step into that industry, maybe they have no or some experience. Regardless, they're still a supermodel in an industry, so they could step on a scene and real quickly adjust, evolve. I mean, they have, like you said, with their track record, they have. So it definitely brings an awareness, and I'm sure to many people a concern. Myself, it brings a concern because I'm all about, if you know me, I'm all about the little guy. So it definitely brings an awareness and a concern to me and the little guy, I'm sure, about where this takes, their economy, their business. Because if you put a company like Amazon on every market and every industry, I mean, then essentially who you can't compete? Nobody. You essentially have the whole market. So it's questions and concerns like that start to arise in people's minds, I'm sure. But those are the type of things that we have in front of us to talk about.
Right. Well, and back to the little guy. I mean, they already, Amazon that has decimated little guys. Amazon is,
Right.
I don't want to say single-handedly, but certainly large-handedly responsible for the struggles that a lot of brick and mortar mom pop shops are having. I mean, people have definitely gone out of business because of this, and that's just on the sales side. So what Amazon was able to do is kind of pit each of these guys against each other on their platform. And so I can go to Amazon, I can see widget A is for $5, but person B over here has that same widget for $4, and person C has it for $3. And so they bring the transparency to the market, and either compete or you die. And so what I guess my fear would be here. So after you've already basically destroyed them on their products, like on the price level for that. Now you're going to come in and trim the fat even more. And so once Amazon picks up and takes over capacity, because you have to know they're going to dominate. Like, that's what they want to do. They want to own the trucking, the brokerage industry. They don't want to connect
Right.
shippers to carriers. They want to be the carrier for the shipper. And so and they're already doing a lot of shipping. And so at the point that now as a brick and mortar, mom and pop, family owned, been in business for 30 years, 40 years. I mean, you guys get your trailers delivered, right? Then now not only do I have to compete with Amazon on price because of their online platform, just selling my goods and products, but now I've got to worry about Amazon setting market pricing for the shipping, right? And so now Amazon determines how much I have to pay to deliver my products, and they determine how much I have to pay to receive my products, and they're determining how much I have to pay in order to just sell my products.
Right.
So this is,
And I think you're going to have to ask yourself, as a business owner, as a seller, as a supplier, or what have you, do you want to save those extra pennies, or are you more concerned with keeping, a fellow business open? Maybe another business, and he's been a buddy for the last 50, 20, whatever, however long they've been open, right? So, I mean, I think businesses and companies are going to have some decent questions to ask themselves going forward from here. Who do I want to freight with? Where do I want to purchase? Because like you said, it does become a very competitive market. And I've seen even the Amazon, statement in the parts room that I deal with, oh, but I can get this so much cheaper on Amazon. Correct. However, you can bring this back here any day with a receipt Amazon isn't necessary. So there's all of these questions, that come into play with whether it be return policy, selling points, cheaper, saving penny, and saving that penny.
Local
Does that
community
ultimately help
support.
a business that you knew at some point, or does that help another business that you knew at some point thrive?
Right, right.
I
So
think those are all the questions that come into play.
yeah, a lot of questions, a lot of questions, a lot of ideas and information that seem to be at odds. But I think just most important right now, just a lot of turbulence. I mean, and the whole investigation and broker rates and that whole thing is still going on. I think we're really seeing the the makings of a very serious situation. I don't want to say revolution necessarily, but something's going to happen in the industry.
Yeah,
There's definitely a lot of
that's
shit
it.
going on right now. There's a lot of turbulence. There's a lot of fog surrounding the state of things, and it affects every one of us, consumers and businesses alike. So it's definitely something that we here at Trailer Talk are going to keep an eye on and make sure that you, the viewers, know.